let's talk about axes and how to make it easier to swing them. What's going on, y'all? It's Paul the Barbarian, and today we're going to talk about axes and axe handles. Now, you see axes everywhere. We all have a bunch of them. We like using them here in the States and everything else like that. It's a really good meta for single-handed axes nowadays. Falchions, everybody figured out that you can swing an axe just as hard as you can swing a falchion. The Russians are using a lot of single-handed axes nowadays. Now, the big thing about axes is the fact that they've only got one way they can really hit you and do damage. It's that edge-on kind of thing. Now, I see lots of people rolling their axes. They don't have good indexing. Like when I talk about indexing a blade, is making sure you're hitting the blade on edge and clean. You're driving all that force. That's why axes are the way they are. They're a really great tool. They're a really great weapon, and they're there to smash people. First off, let's talk about handle shape. Most axes are a tool. Back in the day, they are a single directionary tool. Same thing like a hammer. Most hammers have oblong handles. They are oval. They fit in our hands real nice. You don't have to worry about keep trying to find the edge of the hammer where the hammer's hitting and everything else like that. It's usually pretty dead on because the handle is shaped the way that it is. A lot of people are using axes that have straight round handles. Yeah, straight round handles. We'll keep going with that one. There we go. Fine, you go and pick up a post hole digger handle or something like that. You replace handles. Axes break, handles break. It's pretty natural because you want to keep smashing people, and broken axe handles don't help with the smashing. So you have a round handle. What does that do to your grip when it's going and you're swinging at people? It's going to naturally roll in your hands. Our hands are naturally shaped to hold an oval. When you're futzing around with the handle of your axe and you're taking a look at things and you realize that you have this round handle, all you really have to do is take a piece of sandpaper and sand down the sides and make sure your sides are a little flattened and it ovoids the handle out. Okay, wait just 1 second. Got a couple of things to talk about. Number one, the YouTube's at almost 4,000 subscribers, 3,944 or something like that. That's insane. Thank you guys. Subscription's great. It's awesome. I love hearing from you guys, comments and all that kind of crazy stuff. Like the videos. You all know the jam. Now, second thing, got a t-shirt pre-order going on. The link's down in the description below. It's on my LinkTree. There'll be instructions down in the description. Follow them to make sure you get your t-shirt. Now, the other thing is Patreon. Started up the Patreon. We announced it yesterday. And I'm going to announce my first crusher, Pete Moe, the Boo Hurt Gorilla himself. Thank you, dog. We're going to be talking soon. Patreon saw this video first. So hit up the link. It's down in the description below. Thank you, guys. Let's get back to talking about axes. There are specific tools to do this. You can use a draw knife. This is a very old draw knife, probably from the 1930s. Draw knives are really nice, but they're really kind of not common in your shop. If you've got an angle grinder and you've got a flap wheel, you can use that to do real quick. Wear a respirator. You don't want to get that really fine dust in your lungs. It's not really great for you. But you don't want to really have a super round handle because it's not going to allow you to hit and put people down. That's the idea of axes. You want to be able to smash people and put them on the ground kind of thing. Going through Lowe's and everything else like that, I go and try and find solid wood mattock handles. This is how I make my short handle axes. This is what I use primarily. And these are tough. They're meant to be swung really stinking hard into the ground, breaking rocks. These things have lasted. I mean, this is 30 years old, and this is a new one that I picked up at a yard sale. The one axe I've got down there I've been using for about 3 years on the same handle, and I haven't broken it yet. And I've hit people. And I've also stood on it and done all kinds of crazy stuff. When you're swinging the axe, and you've still got this ovoid handle and everything like that, but sometimes you don't realize that your axe head is turned one way or another, that you're not hitting square on with the blade, you're not transferring all that force into the person to put them on the ground. There are a couple ways we can help this, kind of cheat this a little bit, and that's by adding an index. Now, my way of indexing is pretty simple. I take a piece of string, or a little piece of cord, could be 550 cord, don't take the innards out of it, you want a little bit of thickness there. I tape it to the handle, and then I crank the tape down on the handle, but I make sure that it's on the side that my blade's going to be on. It's very simple. That's just a piece of string, and it's basically so when I grip a hold of this axe handle down here, I feel that in my fingers, and I can feel this in my gauntlet. It makes sure that when you swing and you go to readjust, you bring it back, oh, it's right there. That little index is there to help you. It's to let you know that's where the edge of the blade is. If it's turned sideways, you'll know. If it's turned this way, you'll know. It's it's pretty nifty. It doesn't really hurt your hands too bad. You don't want to make it so huge that it makes it hard to grip the handle kind of thing. If you need to kind of like shave down your handle a little bit to make room for it, do it. It's not the worst thing in the world. Axe handles are replaceable. The second bit to this is that you will notice something on all of my axes. There's a pommel on them. There is something there for me to catch my hand on, because when I swing this axe, I pull against it a little bit. There's just a little bit of resistance. It doesn't need to be some gigantic pommel or anything else like that. Just a little bit of resistance. We have a cheat for that. Taking a little bit of string, running it around the end of this, and then cranking it down on there makes you like a little pseudo pommel. You don't need to put a piece of pipe on the end of it. You don't need to have a big fancy ball or nothing. Just a piece of string, a little bit extra there that is outside the plane of the handle, so you can just catch your hand on it. It's a little bit of a reminder. Little things like that make your life a lot easier in the long run, just because, I mean, some people are going to say, hey, why don't you just learn to swing the axe better? I'm like, yeah, there's also even if you just put a little tiny thing that indicates, hey, there's my edge. I know exactly where it is. Every time I swing that axe, it's going to make it that much better. Axes are wonderful. I love swinging them. I love hitting people with them. It's so stinking fun. Smashing people with axes, smashing stuff with axes. It's great. The main thing about this and using two-handed axes and bigger axes and stuff like that, you need to practice with them. You need to go out and swing it at stuff. It doesn't need to be always at people. You don't need to be always fighting folk. But you need to be practicing. You need to be working on your form. You need to be working about transferring all the force into it. And we're going to do a video talking about force transference at some point in time, whenever I feel like going outside into the abysmal scuba tank that is Maryland weather. But I want you all to be easy, be safe, go out and get your fights, but namely, get vicious and get out.